In today's episode, we delve into a realm where audacity meets strategy, where the bold and the cunning dance a timeless waltz. We are exploring the intricate interplay of boldness and power, as encapsulated in Robert Greene's 48 Laws of Power, particularly focusing on Law 28. Enter with boldness. Our narrative will traverse time and space, from the vibrant heart of Paris in the 1920s to the shadowy halls of the Kremlin. We'll witness how boldness, when wielded with precision, can shape destinies and forge empires. We'll recount tales of those who mastered this art, and of those who, consumed by their own audacity, fell from grace. This episode is more than a historical recount. It's a deep dive into the human psyche and the psychology of power. We explore how boldness shapes our view of leaders and seducers, and the role of feigned timidity in power dynamics. Join us as we peel back layers of human behavior, examining the balance between boldness and restraint and how these forces sculpt history. Get ready for a journey that intertwines power, boldness, and the nuances of human ambition. In 1925, Paris is a city awakened, its streets buzzing with the fervor of a post-war renaissance. Here in the City of Light, every cobblestone and corner teems with life, echoing with the clatter of cafe cups and the spirited debates of artists and philosophers. The air is thick with the scent of fresh paint and gauloises, a testament to the city's relentless pursuit of art and beauty. Above all, casting its long shadow over the scene stands the Eiffel Tower. Once a temporary spectacle for the 1889 World's Fair, it now asserts its permanent, ironclad presence. A marvel to many, a monstrosity to some, it stirs a brew of controversy among the Parisians. Whispers of its potential dismantling circulate, fueling debates in the bustling coffee houses. Meanwhile, the political landscape of France is a complex tapestry, woven from threads of recovery and resilience. The government, still nursing the wounds of the Great War, is caught in a delicate balance of progress and tradition. Amidst economic strains, the costly upkeep of the Eiffel Tower looms large, a burdensome relic in the eyes of some, a beacon of French achievement in the eyes of others. In the balmy days of May 1925, amidst the swirling melodies of Parisian life, a peculiar summons ripples through the ranks of the city's most esteemed scrap metal magnates. A mysterious invitation beckons them to a clandestine meeting, cloaked in layers of secrecy and intrigue, at the Hotel Kremlin. This grand edifice, a jewel in the crown of Parisian luxury, stands as a testament to the city's opulence. As the businessmen, cloaked in their success and prestige, ascend to a sumptuous suite at the pinnacle of the hotel, they are greeted not by a mere deputy, but by the figure of authority himself, Monsieur Lustig, masquerading as the Director General. The air in the room is thick with anticipation, the men unaware of the curious play about to unfold. Amidst the clink of fine glassware and the subtle dance of shadows, Monsieur Lustig, with the poise of a seasoned thespian, unveils his grand narrative.
Gentlemen,
He begins, his voice a blend of gravitas and secrecy.
we stand at a crossroads of urgency and discretion. The government faces a decision of monumental weight, the dismantling of the Eiffel Tower.
A hush falls over the room as the men grapple with the revelation. Lustig paints a picture of a beleaguered monument, its once proud frame, now a burden of maintenance and fiscal woes. The tower, conceived as a temporary marvel for the Exposition of 1889, now stands as a financial albatross in an era of economic strain. He speaks of the public's divided heart. How many Parisians view the tower as an unsightly blemish on their city's classical beauty?
In time,
Lustig proclaims,
even the allure for tourists will fade, its memory preserved only in photographs and postcards.
with the stage set and the audience, enraptured, Lustig delivers his masterstroke.
Gentlemen,
He declares,
the government invites your proposals to acquire the Eiffel Tower.
Lustig presents the businessman with official-looking stationery, laden with meticulous figures detailing the tonnage of the Eiffel Tower's metal. Their eyes widen, minds racing with calculations, envisioning the fortune that could be wrought from the tower's scrap. Each number, each statistic weaves deeper the illusion of legitimacy. Then, with the air of a man accustomed to the finer things, Lustig ushers them into a waiting limousine, a chariot ready to transport them to the heart of their potential conquest. The Eiffel Tower looms ahead, its iron frame a silent witness to the unfolding charade. As they wander beneath its towering spires, Lustig, flashing an official badge with practiced ease, leads them through the labyrinth of girders and beams. His tour is sprinkled with charming anecdotes, each tale a carefully crafted thread in the tapestry of his grand illusion. The visit concludes with gratitude and a request, disarmingly simple: their offers for the tower to be discreetly delivered to his suite within 4 days. Days later, the drama reaches its crescendo. Monsieur P, one of the businessmen, receives the fateful news. His bid is the chosen one. To finalize this historic transaction, he is instructed to bring a certified check for over 250,000 francs to Lustig's suite, a sum tantamount to a modern million. In exchange, the promise of papers confirming his ownership of the Eiffel Tower. Monsieur P's heart swells with anticipation. He imagines his name etched in history books as the man who dismantled the infamous landmark. Yet as he steps into the hotel suite, check in hand, a shadow of doubt creeps in. The unusual setting, the absence of other government officials. Could this be a farce, a meticulously woven scam? As Lustig discusses the logistics of the tower's scrapping, Monsieur P finds himself at a crossroads of trust and skepticism. The allure of the deal battles with the gnawing suspicion in his mind. He stands on the brink, teetering between commitment and retreat, ensnared in Lustig's web of deceit. However, in the midst of their transaction, a subtle shift occurs. Lustig, deviating from the script of the sale, begins to weave a tale of personal woes. He laments his meager salary, his wife's longing for a luxurious fur coat, and the bitterness of being undervalued despite his hard work. Monsieur P, keenly attuned to the nuances of the conversation, perceives the underlying request. To Monsieur P, this revelation doesn't spark indignation but rather a sigh of relief. In his experience, such under-the-table dealings are a familiar dance in the halls of French bureaucracy. This semblance of corruption reassures him, reinforcing his belief in the legitimacy of the transaction. His doubts dissipating, Monsieur P discreetly slides a stack of francs across the table, a silent acquiescence to the unspoken request. He then confidently presents the certified check, the key to his grand ambition. In return, he receives an array of documents, each adorned with official-looking seals and signatures, including a formidable bill of sale. He leaves the hotel, his mind brimming with visions of future profits and acclaim. Yet as days turn to silence, with no word from the government, a nagging unease begins to gnaw at Monsieur P. His attempts to confirm the deal through phone calls only deepen his dread. The stark truth emerges. There is no deputy director general named Lustig, no plans to dismantle the Eiffel Tower. He has been swindled, duped out of a fortune. The realization is a bitter pill. Monsieur P, humiliated and cornered, chooses silence over scandal. He understands the merciless nature of public ridicule and the devastating impact it could have on his business reputation. The thought of being known as the man who fell for such a ludicrous con is unbearable. In the shadow of his private despair, he bears the weight of his loss alone, a silent victim of one of history's most brazen scams. As Monsieur P retreats into the shadows of his private turmoil, grappling with the realization of his folly, our story reaches its denouement. The tale of Victor Lustig's audacious Eiffel Tower scam serves as more than just a recounting of one of history's most brazen deceptions. It stands as a testament to the art of the con and the psychology of belief. Had Victor Lustig, a maestro in the symphony of swindling, set his sights on selling Parisian landmarks of lesser stature like the Arc de Triomphe, a Seine bridge, or a Balzac statue, skepticism would likely have thwarted his plans. But the Eiffel Tower, with its colossal presence and iconic status, was the perfect mark. Its sheer size and improbability made the idea of a scam seem far-fetched, playing into Lustig's hands. This very implausibility shielded him from doubt, enabling him not only to execute his scam once but to audaciously repeat it 6 months later. On his return to Paris, he found another victim, a different scrap iron dealer, and swindled an even larger sum, equivalent to over $1,500,000 in today's currency. This phenomenon highlights a curious aspect of human perception. The larger the scale of a deception, the less likely it is to be questioned. Grandeur has a mesmerizing effect. It captures the imagination, diverts attention, and commands such respect that the possibility of deceit seems almost unthinkable. The grander the lie, the more formidable its presence, making the truth seem like a distant, faint possibility. Lustig's strategy hinged on boldness and the expansion of his deceptions to unimaginable extents. When faced with potential suspicion, he didn't retreat or reduce his demands. Instead, he escalated them, demanding a bribe and thus increasing the stakes. This tactic of amplifying demands serves a dual purpose. It puts the adversary on the back foot, mired in self-doubt, and it obliterates the creeping shadows of skepticism with the blinding light of audacity. In the world of deception, as demonstrated by the cunning Lustig, the audaciousness of a claim can be its very shield, a grand illusion that turns incredulity into belief. In the waning days of 1533, within the imposing walls of the Kremlin, a chapter of Russian history quietly turns. Vasily III, Grand Duke of Moscow, ruler of a Russia only just brushing against unity, lies on his deathbed. His final decree echoes through the grand halls. His son, Ivan IV, a child of mere 3 winters, is to be his successor. The air is thick with the weight of a dying dynasty, the future of a nation resting in the hands of a toddler. Vasily entrusts the regency to his young wife, Helena, a beacon of hope in a court riddled with intrigue. Her task, to steward the throne until Ivan, her son, comes of age. But the boyars, the Russian aristocracy, shrouded in their opulent robes and veiled schemes, barely conceal their glee. For years they have chafed under the tightening grip of the Dukes of Moscow, yearning to reclaim their power. Now, with the Duke fading into the annals of time, his heir an innocent child, and a woman holding the reins of power, they sense an opportunity to overturn the ducal ascendancy. Helena, young yet acutely aware of the viper's nest she inhabits, seeks solace and counsel in her trusted ally, Prince Ivan Obolensky. Together, they navigate the treacherous currents of court politics, attempting to preserve the fragile legacy of Vasily. However, fate, ever fickle, deals a cruel hand. After 5 years of steadfast rule, Helena succumbs to a sinister plot, her life snuffed out by the poison of the Shuisky family, a boyar clan as formidable as they are ruthless. The Shuisky princes, seizing the moment, claw their way to power, casting Obolensky into the cold embrace of a prison cell, where he meets his end abandoned and forgotten. Young Ivan, now 8 years old, finds himself a pariah in his own realm, an orphan scorned and reviled. Those who dare show him kindness or allegiance are swiftly banished or meet grisly fates. The Kremlin, once a place of grandeur and power, now casts a shadow over the young Tsar's heart, a fortress of solitude and sorrow. In these dark corridors of power, where trust is a currency few can afford, Ivan's path to the throne is fraught with danger and despair. A childhood marred by betrayal and loss shapes the boy who would be known to history as Ivan the Terrible, a ruler whose reign would be etched in blood and fire. In the cold, echoing halls of the Kremlin, young Ivan, heir to the throne of Moscow, wanders like a ghost. Clad in tattered garments, he is a shadow of royalty, a prince in name but a pauper in reality. The Shuiskys, those wolves in noble clothing, stalk him relentlessly, their disdain for the young so palpable in every sneer and jibe. On certain days, in a cruel charade, they adorn him in the regalia of his birthright, drape him in royal robes, thrust a scepter into his hand and seat him upon the throne. This mockery of sovereignty, a grotesque pantomime, serves only to belittle his claim to the crown. As quickly as they elevate him, they discard him, casting him back into the shadows of the palace. Amidst this torment, a night of terror unfolds. Ivan watches, his young eyes wide with horror, as the Shuiskys chase the Metropolitan, the head of the Russian Church, through the palace corridors. The holy man seeks sanctuary in Ivan's room, but there is no refuge from the wrath of the boyars. They burst in, their words venomous, their fists cruel, beating the Metropolitan without mercy. In this desolate landscape of fear and betrayal, Ivan finds a solitary beacon of hope in Vorontsov, a nobleman who offers solace and counsel, but even this fragile bond is shattered when the Shuiskys, in a violent intrusion, assault Vorontsov and desecrate the Metropolitan's robes, before banishing Vorontsov from Moscow. Through all these trials, Ivan remains silent, a statue amidst the chaos. To the boyars he appears broken, a mere shell of a ruler, easily dismissed and forgotten. They believe their brutal game has succeeded, turning the young heir into a docile fool. But the winds of fate are shifting. On the evening of December 29, 1543, Ivan, now 13, a cauldron of pent-up resolve, summons Prince Andrei Shuisky to his chamber. The prince enters, unsuspecting, only to find the room brimming with palace guards. With a single, decisive gesture, young Ivan points at Andrei, sealing his fate. The prince is arrested, executed, and his body callously thrown to the kennel hounds. In the days that follow, Ivan's newfound ferocity sends shockwaves through the court. One by one, Andrei's allies are arrested, exiled, the foundation of their power crumbling. The boyars, once so assured in their control, now tremble in fear before this enigmatic youth, Ivan the Terrible. A name that will echo through the annals of history has emerged from the shadows. His swift, ruthless act of retribution marking the dawn of a reign that will be remembered for its sheer force and unyielding grip on power. As Ivan ascends from the ashes of his tormented childhood, his story unfolds not just as a tale of personal triumph, but as a lesson in the ruthless art of power. In the shadow of Ivan's sudden and decisive rise, there lies a deeper understanding of the dynamics of authority and control, a narrative that resonates beyond the confines of history. In every era, in every realm, there exist figures akin to the boyars of Ivan's time. Individuals who, driven by fear and jealousy, fiercely guard their dwindling domains of influence. These adversaries, ever watchful, are quick to quash any threat to their authority. The challenge, then, is to establish one's power and command respect in the face of such opposition. Ivan's strategy in navigating this treacherous landscape was one of cunning patience and calculated visibility. He presented himself as unambitious content, a mere bystander in the court's machinations. In this guise, he bided his time silently weaving alliances, notably with the palace guards who had grown weary of the Shuiskys' cruelty. When the moment was ripe, Ivan struck with the precision and swiftness of a predator. His accusation against Shuisky was swift, leaving no room for defense or counteraction. This approach, decisive, unexpected, and without negotiation, shattered the foundations of the boyar's power. Negotiating with adversaries, especially those who despise or fear you, is a path fraught with peril. Even the smallest concession can become a wedge for them to dismantle your position. In contrast, a bold, unheralded move can obliterate these openings, solidifying your authority. Such actions instill fear in those who doubt you, while simultaneously earning the admiration and allegiance of those who value strength and decisiveness. Ivan's story, thus, is not just a historical account of a young ruler's ascent. It is a parable of power, a reminder that in the chess game of influence, the most impactful moves are often those that are bold, direct, and unforeseen. In the tapestry of human nature, timidity often emerges as the dominant thread. Many of us, seeking the warmth of acceptance and the comfort of conflict-free existence, tread lightly through life's vast stage. Our minds may dance with visions of daring deeds, yet these often remain just that. Visions, never manifesting into reality. This fear, this hesitation, stems not from a benevolent concern for others, but from a deep-seated self-absorption, a preoccupation with how we are perceived. Contrastingly, boldness steps out of the shadows of self-consciousness, casting its gaze outward. It exudes a natural ease, a liberation from the shackles of internal scrutiny. In the realm of seduction, this principle shines brightest. The great seducers like Casanova captivate not through cautious approaches or measured compliments, but through unbridled boldness, a complete surrender to the object of their affection, an unwavering confidence that dismisses any notion of hesitation or such boldness is intoxicating, for it transports us beyond our own introspections, bathing us in the allure of being desired without reservation. This outward focus of boldness, its ability to maintain the illusion of effortless charm, is what draws us to the bold, what makes us yearn for their company. Their self-assurance becomes a contagion, a liberating force that propels us beyond our own self-imposed limitations. Boldness is not a trait bestowed at birth. It is a skill honed and cultivated. Even figures of historical renown, like Napoleon, learned to wield boldness as both shield and sword. In social settings, he transformed his inherent awkwardness into a commanding presence, recognizing the immense power of boldness to elevate even the most unassuming individual. We witness a similar metamorphosis in Ivan the Terrible. From the chrysalis of a seemingly harmless boy, a formidable leader emerges, commanding authority with a mere gesture, a bold act that redefined his destiny. In the intricate dance of negotiation, boldness finds its most practical application. Too often, we undervalue ourselves, asking for less than we deserve. But history teaches us that audacious demands can yield surprising results. Christopher Columbus, demanding the title of Grand Admiral of the Ocean, and Henry Kissinger's negotiation tactics illustrate that setting a high value on oneself, and then daring to set it even higher, can lead to unforeseen triumphs. Understand that timidity, much like boldness, is an acquired behavior, a response born out of a desire to sidestep confrontation. If timidity has seeped into your being, challenge it. The fears associated with bold actions are frequently exaggerated. Their consequences far less dire than the crippling effects of constant hesitation. The perceived dangers of audacity pale in comparison to the insidious erosion of self-worth brought about by timidity. Embrace boldness, for its potential missteps can be masked, even rectified by greater audacity. Remember, the allure of the bold is not just in their actions, but in the expansive aura they create. An aura that invites us to step out of our own shadows and bask in the liberating light of fearless living. While the mantle of boldness can be a powerful garment to don, it is not one to be worn at all times. Boldness, in its essence, is a tactical tool, a strategic flourish to be unleashed in the right moment. It requires forethought, a careful orchestration where the crescendo is a bold act, the decisive stroke that clinches victory. Like any skill, boldness is learned, and with learning comes control, the ability to wield it with precision, not just with abandon. To navigate life's complex waters, relying solely on audacity is akin to sailing a ship in a storm with no compass. Such unbridled boldness can be exhausting and ultimately self-destructive. It risks alienating those around you, as history has shown in those unable to temper their boldness. Ivan the Terrible succumbed to this fate. The power of boldness initially carved his path to success, but his relentless adherence to it morphed into a pattern of violence and sadism. He lost the discernment of when to deploy boldness, and when to hold back, blurring the line between strength and tyranny. In the intricate dance of power, timidity has no role. It is the antithesis of command. However, the art of feigning timidity can be an effective strategy. This simulated shyness is not a sign of weakness, but a cunning ruse, a Trojan horse concealing your readiness to strike with boldness. It's a strategic ploy, lulling opponents into a false sense of security, only to be blindsided by your audacious moves. Thus, the true mastery of boldness lies not in its constant exhibition, but in its strategic application. It is knowing when to unleash its force and when to cloak it in the guise of timidity, turning each situation to your advantage. In this careful balance, boldness transforms from a mere trait into a formidable weapon in the arsenal of power,